You have said that translation is part archaeology, part detective work, part poetry. Can we just speak about translation and the art of it a bit more?
Yes.
I mean, it's such an incredible discipline. Just like you said, hinted at, just a subtle variation in a single word can change everything.
Well, the truth about translation is that you never really have a word in one language which precisely equates another.
Yeah.
You never do. They're always the best you can do. And sometimes it makes no difference, and sometimes it's really quite misleading. And so what people do when they learn Akkadian is they learn the Akkadian word and they learn the English translation. Right, you have to parasu is to divide. So whenever you have the verb parasu, it's some form of divide or division. But actually, it's not, because divide is like the primary root, but there's maybe 10 nuances of what that can mean in English, where the one at the bottom and the one at the top, you'd hardly know they were connected. And the Chicago Dictionary, which is such a magnificent thing, when you come to the museum and see me, I'll show you this Chicago. It's the most salient and important thing that came out of America in all its history. Is the Chicago Assyrian Dictionary, which is this long. There's only one rival to it for cultural importance, which is the electric guitar, of course. But the two of them, I think, are your countrymen's greatest achievements.
It's the pride of our nation.
I think so.
Two things.
It's the very thing.
Chicago Dictionary. Can you? I'm sorry to take the tangent. What is the Chicago Dictionary?
It started in the 1920s, and they made a dictionary of the Babylonian language, A to Z, so to speak. And it's as long as this table. It's a magnificent thing, and this big. And there, the people who worked on it were real translators, so they knew that it wasn't lexically A means B, but they had. So if you have something in a proverb, the meaning is going to be a little bit different from in a letter, and so people really, really understand Akkadian. They really do. But this thing about the modal verbs is an interesting conundrum to me, because there's no way it's reflected in the writing. So I can only assume that there was some kind of drawing out of the vowel in a verb, meaning could, like you were saying, you might do it, something like that. Anyway, so nowadays it's not a decipherment that's the job, it's just reading. And if you have lots of tablets to work on, like on a dig, it's very exciting if they come out of the ground and no one's looked for them before. It's your job. And if you're a competent Assyriologist, you should be able to sight read more or less, except most, say a letter or something like that, but most documents have some damage. So you have to learn how to interpret stuff. And also, some literature is very difficult because of technical vocabulary, and they had technical vocabulary and unusual words.
So you can do all of that. You can kind of figure out the technical complexities. You can figure out the noise, meaning missing pieces.
Yeah, sometimes you can calculate to what it ought to be, make a reasonable suggestion. And this dictionary, which I was talking to you about, is such a fantastic tool, because a lot of people worked on it for it was the National Endowment for the Humanities, and it was for decades and decades of work. And most of the world's best Assyriologists collaborated on it. So the quality of translation and understanding is really extraordinary.